The electric car, when people think about it, it can bring up a few images. Tired old milk floats from the 70s, the forklift trucks people use, electric trains, and the more modern Teslas, which few people can afford. Then people think of the reduction in pollution and a new world of electric cars where nobody knows quite how they'll work or how they'll perform. So I'm going to spend the next few minutes exploring some of these points, relate them to where we find ourselves today and what we can expect from the electric car in the future. The electric car is a lot older than a lot of people think. They were being built almost 200 years ago, prototypes, and about a century ago they formed a third of all cars on the road in the USA. Until around the 1960s and 70s, when oil prices went up with the oil cartels, etc., and then more lately with concerns about the environment. Regarding the environment, with global warming becoming an issue and air quality, people have seen the need to embrace renewable energy programs, and part of that is indeed transport. Now, the environmental benefits surrounding electric cars are one of the most significant factors in switching from petrol to electric. If you can imagine Bangkok without any air pollution, they would really notice the difference. I think we get so used to it now that we can't really appreciate just how bad it is. Performance-wise, one of the main concerns is the range and the length of time to charge up. Today, the average car has about 160 kilometers before it needs a charge. Puts a lot of people off because they think they need more range. And it doesn't sound like much, but think about it. 160 kilometers per charge. Now that's just below 2 hours of highway driving, when you should be taking a break anyway. All motorcycles need to refill within about 2 hours, and at the same kind of range. So the improvements in the three dynamics don't need to be that big. The second performance factor is speed and acceleration. The real surprise in this one is that electric cars can match even the fastest cars today, and certainly beat them from traffic lights. Now this is to do with power delivery. Okay, petrol engines take a time to build up to full power, horsepower, so we've got that one there. The electric car, instant on. So while this one's accelerating, the electric car is already at the full acceleration. So there are really no problems with speed performance. In terms of economics, another advantage is the cost compared to the cost of a gallon of petrol. The price of the cars themselves, at the moment, they're really expensive. The prices won't go down until that happens, along with a large expansion of the charging points. Now, another thing is the power source. Electric cars generally rely on lithium-ion batteries. Now, the worldwide reserves of lithium are finite. The estimates say we've generally got enough to get up to 2050, and there's enough lithium in reserve to make 4 billion cars. Now, there are 1 billion vehicles in the world today, and they only last a certain amount of time, as do lithium-ion batteries. So it's clearly a medium-term fix, and it's going to make more sense to develop power sources from the sun or the sea, so we don't run out. In conclusion, the electric car is coming, it's going to be here to stay, it's going to be the default form of transport over the next decades, and it makes sense environmentally, there's no argument about it. That's the biggest benefit, really. Performance-wise, there's still some improvements to be made, but there's nothing that's really unsurmountable. There's legislation in many countries to stop selling petrol cars by the year 2030, so car pricing and fuel options will not be the difficulties that they are now. I contend the electric vehicles planned for production today will not be like those that come in the future. We still have to solve the power source. Lithium-ion is only a temporary fix, so we need to develop solar power or salt water, still with electric motors, but the power source is what's in play here. And last but not least, driverless cars. That's the next new big thing, which we'll have to cover in another video. So I'll sign off and let you think about how you're going to work tomorrow.